Hello, YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, and Apollo the Kitten. Yes, Apollo is a kitten. He is, how many months now? 10 months old. Yes, he's a big boy. And his sister and littermate Suckmet, that beautiful black kitten, is roughly half his size. I know. Anyway, so it is my honor and my pleasure to present to you the December 2024 issue or entry of Llewellyn's 2024 Tarot Calendar. You know what that means. This is the last time you're going to see this calendar in my videos. So, we have no spread. We have the 10 of Good Cheer, which is more commonly known as the 10 of Cups, from the Yuletide Tarot. And of course, the Yuletide Tarot is, let's see, the Yuletide Tarot is written by Christopher Hughes and illustrated by Erin O'Leary Brown. So we have a blurb about the 10 of Good Cheer, we have the symbol, we have an article called Before Interpreting Cards, which I very much enjoy. And then we have the blessing, the last blessing of this calendar, Llewellyn's 2024 Tarot Calendar. Okay, so the 10 of Good Cheer, more commonly known as the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups promises fulfilling, happy, healthy relationships and family, however you define it. These relationships are your safe places. They are worthy of celebrating, honoring, and sharing. Take care of these treasures. So, you know, as a gay man, I'm long familiar with the concept of creating one's own family. And there are some people that have become my family. My life partner / divine consort has become my family. Close friends, especially mutual friends of ours, have become my family. There are people that I'm not related to by blood, at least in this lifetime anyway, that have become my chosen family. And also, even though the card in this tarot deck depicts a couple who look to be romantically involved, and one is holding up mistletoe, this is also about all kinds of healthy relationships. You know, the close friends, the besties, if you will, the BFFs, the confidants, the people that make your life sweeter and happier. And yes, this could also represent marriages and romantic relationships and fiancés and engagements, but it really is about the entire spectrum of relationships. In my life, I've met a few people who have work spouses, work husbands, or work wives. And I've always found it interesting because, you know, in my life, I've had several positions of employment, one which was for several years, but I never really had a work spouse in that position of employment. So, I love the concept of work spouse. But yeah, so it's a really, really good reminder to honor and savor, as well as treasure, those great relationships in your life, that chosen family, especially if you're not very close to your family because they have an issue with you being black, being gay, being lesbian, being transgender, being a Trump supporter. Oh, Trump supporters won't watch this. That's right. Never mind. Anyway, the symbol, the mistletoe. Mistletoe symbolizes romance, fertility, and vitality. Druids used it for healing. The holiday tradition of kissing under mistletoe highlights the romantic and affectionate nature of this card. Indeed, the traditional image depicts a very happy family. They're looking at the rainbow in the sky, the little children are playing, and in this one there's a slight variation of the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. You see the couple One is holding the mistletoe over the other one's head. Their two children, or who I presume to be their two children, are building a snowman. I love snowmen, by the way. I always have. And then before interpreting cards, I dig this article. And of course, it's one of the reasons why I love this series of calendars so much, because we have the insights, we have the spreads, at least with half of the calendar, you have the spreads, and you have the tips. This falls under the category of insights as well as the category of tips. So before interpreting cards, before interpreting a reading card by card, notice whether the suits are equally represented or if the suits represented are appropriate to the situation. I'm going to read that again, and I'm going to read it a little more slowly. Before interpreting a reading card by card, notice whether the suits are equally represented or if the suits represented are appropriate to the situation. The absence of a suit also says something about a situation. For example, we expect to see cups in a romance reading to represent emotional connection. No cups can indicate a lack of intimacy. Many wands mean strong passion, but without cups, it could mean a relationship based only on physical attraction. A reading about a job that lacks pentacles but is heavy on cups probably means not much financial compensation, but more emotional satisfaction. Now, I normally don't add my own insights into these articles, but this time I felt that I must. So, number one, when I used to teach tarot, I always taught to look for the missing card, whether that missing card was a certain suit, or a certain court card, or a certain even major arcana card. So some examples about that. Let's say, for example, you have a reading with me. I'm using a tarot deck, and in the first set of cards that I interpret, 3 of the 4 queens are present. Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords, Queen of Pentacles. Why isn't the Queen of Cups? To me, that also is worthy of interpretation. So if I was conducting a reading and I saw all three queens, meaning all 4 queens except for, in this example, the Queen of Cups, that to me is a message. That to me is worthy of interpretation. If, let's say, somebody comes to me and they want to focus on deepening their spirituality or developing their spirituality on a deeper level, and there are no major arcana cards, that to me would indicate several things. That would indicate to me X or Y, depending upon the reading, because I'm also taking into consideration the client, what the client is presenting me with, what the client is going through, as well as the first set of cards that I lay out. Another example, let's say that every element is represented, or rather every minor arcana suit is represented except for swords. That's a message. That's worthy of interpretation. So I always look at the missing card, and there is, and it's my understanding it's traditional to look at, I'm going to use a legal term, but it seems to apply to this situation, a preponderance of suits. You know, I've conducted readings where half of the cards present were wands. So that tells me something. If half of the cards were cups, that also tells me something. If there's 1 major arcana card, that tells me something. If there are 5 major arcana cards, or 7, that tells me a lot. So I look at not only what's in abundance, but also what's absent. And I find that sometimes the card that is absent, whether it is whatever card from the tarot, is just as telling as the cards that are present. All right. And last but not least, we have the blessing. It is tempting to label a year as categorically bad or good when really a lot of good and bad and everything in between happens over 525,600 minutes. Wise people know that something we don't know let me try that again. Wise people know that sometimes we don't know if something is good or bad until long after the event. Most lives aren't good or bad, but a glorious tapestry of all human experiences. Approximately 2 years ago, I did a video on my YouTube channel, and I posed the question to you in YouTubeLand, what makes you say that a certain year is good or a certain year is bad? Because I have a client who has been using my psychic services for more than 30 years. She's also become a dear friend in that time. But she first came into my life in this lifetime as a client. And I've lost track of how many times she said that a year was bad. Now, I look at it from a lot of different perspectives. But I was curious. I'm like, well, what's the criteria for you in YouTube land? Like, what's it for you if it's a good year? Or what's it for you if it's a bad year? Do you know that nobody commented on that video? Nobody commented on that video, which I found a little frustrating because I really was curious. Like, well, what's your criteria? Like, what for you is a good year or a bad year? What does a year have to have for you to call it a good year? What does a year have to have it a bad year? And I realize reading this, written by the Barbara Moore, that in reality, at the end of the day, and in this case, at the end of the year, every year is a good and a bad year because it's everything in between, as well as good or bad, or as I would say, empowering as well as disempowering. And here is the blessing, this beautiful blessing. May you bless this year, whatever it has brought. May you bless this year for the terrors and delights, for the darkness and the light, for the losses and the loves, for the revelations. May you bless this year for who you were at its beginning and for who you are now at its close. That is so beautiful. As always, I am immensely thankful to Llewellyn Publications for publishing yet another tarot-themed annual, for continuing to publish the Llewellyn's Tarot Calendars. It is their only tarot-themed annual, so I tend to be really big on doing a public service announcement, or PSA for short, with regards to these calendars. And, it's the only one that's tarot-themed. Everything else is witchy or astrological or herbal or what have you. But this is the only one that is tarot-themed. So, and as you can see, the 2025 edition has already been published. All of their annuals, their sun sign book, moon sign book, daily planetary guide, witch's date book, witch's calendar, they're all published annually. That's why they're called annuals. So this one was published, I believe, this past July. So you don't have to pre-order it. I believe you do need to pre-order the 2026, which I haven't even looked for yet because my mind is still focused on 2024. But if there is a 2026 to pre-order, I will include that link in the description box for this video. But yes, now Charles Harrington is writing the insights, spreads, and tips, beginning with Llewellyn's 2025 tarot calendar. But this is going to be the last time you see this calendar in my YouTube videos because we just did December. And there you go. And of course, I also want to thank everybody who buys this calendar, who gives this calendar as gifts, whether it's to yourself or to others. This calendar makes me happy. It just does. It's one of truth be told, virtually everything that I buy from Llewellyn Publications makes me happy. But this one makes me especially happy. It makes me very, very happy. And of course, I want to thank everybody who has made sure to spread the word about these calendars online and off. And of course, to all of you in YouTube land for all the likes, all the comments, all the shares, and all the subscriptions to my YouTube channel. And an extra big and beautiful thank you to everyone who has already scheduled their sessions, including the individual who had a 45-minute phone reading, audio reading with me this past Sunday, December 8th. Yes, December 8th. So thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, stay in tune with your intuition, stay safe, stay well, stay hydrated, and stay tuned for the next video.